All right, this is take two of dream theories. If you remember from the last video, I looked at dream theories, and we looked at Freud's wish fulfillment theory, we looked at the information processing theory, and we also looked at the physiological functioning theory. So there's two dream theories left that we need to talk about. The first dream theory that we need to talk about is the activation synthesis theory. This is the idea that dreams come from these random neural activity during REM sleep. So it's kind of piggybacking off from the physiological function theory. But the difference between the physiological function theory and the activation synthesis theory is the second part of this. It says our brain then tries to get these random neural activity into something that makes sense. And so what we're having happen is that it's still random neurons that are firing, okay, but our dream is the attempt to have it make sense. So it's an attempt at making these random neurons firing make sense. And so that's why in your dream, for example, you will all of a sudden, move from, one place to another. So maybe you're dreaming and you're at your house and you open a door that normally goes into your bedroom, and it opens a door to your friend's house, okay? And it's the random neurons that are firing, but your brain is trying to make some sort of sense out of it, okay? So that's the activation synthesis theory. The last theory is the cognitive developmental theory, and this is the idea that dreams show our maturity, basically. It shows our cognitive development, our knowledge and understanding of things. So it's basically saying that your dream is going to be different as you age. As you get older, you're going to dream more mature things, okay? The content of your dream is going to change, okay? You will, for example, when you're a kid, you're scared of things that are very simple. Like, for example, my son is 6 years old, and he's still deathly afraid of the monsters from the Scooby-Doo movies. Okay, he loves Scooby-Doo, but he does not like any of the bad guys. And even though we talk to him about, okay, it's a man in a mask, in his dream it'll come out and it'll scare him. Now, myself, when I have a scary dream, I'm not going to have, a villain from a Scooby-Doo movie that's going to be in my dream, okay? The villains that I have in my dream, the bad guys in my dream, are going to be more realistic. They're not going to be these, super powered crazy things or these cartoonish figures. They're going to be more related to real life fears that I may have, maybe of, somebody who is, a pickpocket, or, a murderer, or whatever, somebody that I've actually seen on TV. And so I'm going to have much more mature dreams than, say, my 6-year-old. Okay, so we're going back to, remember, if you remember from the last video when we talked about dream theories, I talked about Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley, remember, is the author of the original Frankenstein. She was the first one that kind of started sci-fi, you might say. But Mary Shelley, remember, she started Frankenstein after a dream she had, and her dream was about her child, and she had a child that had died, and she had this dream about her child coming back to life. So the activation synthesis theory would analyze her dream and say that the reason that she dreamt this was because she had these random neurons that are firing, and that's why the whole coming back to life thing, and her brain is trying to process and make sense of it, and so that's why it put together her child and coming back to life, and so it's just kind of a bunch of randomness. Cognitive developmental, however, would say that Mary Shelley's dream is a way of processing that loss and that death, but it's different than what it would be if, for example, it was a child dreaming about somebody who died. And it's a much more mature dream than if it was somebody who was, for example, younger. Okay. So those are the two dream theories that we did not hit in the last video. So hopefully that will make sense. Let me know in class if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.